All right. Hopefully we're live. I'm just waiting for YouTube to respond. Excellent connection. Good. Cool. All right. So, what's up, guys? My name is Nate Hibbert. This is my YouTube channel, and I'm trying out something new here. Just wanted to put out some content for you guys since you've been subscribing to the channel. This just started as something that I wanted to do in the midst of a pandemic. Starting a new YouTube channel and just focusing on the hobbies or things that I become obsessed with. So the current thing that I was talking about on this channel a while ago, it's a couple months now since I put anything here, was 3D printing. I'm still very into that, but my focus has quickly shifted the last week or two on drones. And so my brother, who has helped me with basically every business that I've had for the last 6 years, really wanted to push me and just like putting out content about drones and stuff. Not that 3D printing stuff is done, but just this is a new thing that I'm addicted to right now. So we wanted to see if we could kind of capture the experience of me learning, going from basically knowing nothing about drones to wherever I end up with this journey. So I'm going to bring my brother on now. Hopefully this all works. You're live. We're looking at you, scratching your face. So this is my brother, Steven. On this channel, you probably not had seen him, but if you've seen literally anything else that I've done on the internet, you probably have seen him. He's been kind of the backbone of this YouTube channel, and he's the one telling me that people are subscribing and commenting and that I need to interact with the people here, because it seems like you guys liked what I just did when I was super passionate in getting into 3D printing. So yeah, thank you everyone for subscribing. And Steve, you have anything to say before we jump into more madness?
No, this looks good. I'm excited. I didn't think you'd be able to pull this off technically, so I'm impressed there. But now, ready to go. Let's test this out.
All right, cool. Tell me how your voice sounds. I've got a sound bar that I can change. But okay, so the plan for tonight is just to show you guys kind of the beginning of my drone obsession. I've been watching lots of YouTube content and doing research and reading blogs and actually contacting people on Instagram in my area, which is a new thing that I kind of just stumbled into. And having some success there and them telling me things that I could try out. So that's what I'm doing, taking the first step and just trying a drone simulator. So if this all works and this computer is worth it, here we go. So I should be able to have gameplay and me and Steven's face on here. I've put maybe 5 hours into the drone sim, but half of that was problem solving, and the other half was just showing my brother how cool it is and him asking me to do stuff that I could not do. And as I crash, we're gonna test this out for just a second. I just realized I can't see YouTube anymore, so I'm gonna have to move some stuff around.
I can keep an eye on YouTube if there's any questions or anything.
All right, I think I just I don't know where I would even put that. I need another monitor. So yeah, this is a drone simulator. I've heard it's like 80% of what it feels like to fly a drone in real life. And so really what I'm trying to do is learn the muscle memory of how to control a simulator. So just to talk about that for 1 second, I'm right now just using an Xbox controller because that's all I have available to me. I might do a stream maybe at the end of this one. I need to look at controllers and which one to buy. I was kind of waiting to learn some more about that and see if the very first step of, I like playing video games, I already have an Xbox controller, would I actually put time into a drone simulator? The answer is yes. I've been itching and chomping at the bits to get into this thing, but I just want to capture this all the way through. So tonight I'm going to be going through, I've gone through several of like the first lessons, but nothing really too hard. Oh, nice. I want to do a few more of the lessons here while Steven throws random questions at me, and try to, one, get better at or more comfortable, I don't know if better, but more comfortable with flying a drone, and 2, get better at doing these live streams for you guys. So I will pause this. I'll see if I can't bring YouTube somewhere actually usable.
This is a, I guess, a technical question for you.
What's up?
The only way that I'm able to see your screen is through YouTube with a major delay. The only way I can really listen to you is through Zoom. It's a little disjarring trying to like follow what's going on in stream and then hearing you talk through.
I think not watching what's going on in stream, because I don't know how pertinent it is to you. Well, I guess if you want to ask questions. I don't know. Let's just talk this one, and then we can see like if I screen share to you some different way in future, we can figure that out.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you questions and have you like bring up like a website or something. Like you were just talking about the controllers. I think that's something I would be interested in. But then when I'm like, hey, click on that, it's like it's gonna be a 5-second delay, so you're gonna be gone.
Right.
I guess just knowing that, as long as you know that, it shouldn't be a big problem.
Oh, I didn't break it already.
I don't know how much of a delay it is.
Well, it crashed, so that's a good sign.
Then. At least 5 seconds, possibly even 10.
Play this. I don't think I have any added delay, so I guess you guys could watch this. Oops.
That's interesting, though. How do you think other people are doing this with multiple people?
I'm not sure. I don't really watch any two-person streams. I don't really watch any streams, period.
Because I think the technical side of this is going to be a solution for the people that I'm helping. I mean, it looks good. It's definitely a lot better than anything I've seen being done by the people that I'm helping. But they don't really do a lot of screen sharing like this, and especially not any kind of graphical screen sharing. It's mostly just conversation based.
Right. What oh, so this is the only one I haven't done. So there's just to talk about drone simulators real quick. There's like 3 major ones.
Go back to okay, that's what I was gonna say. What is this, and why did you even choose a drone simulator?
Yeah. So a drone simulator, I started there because it's extremely low entry price. I got this DRL Sim on sale on Steam for $6 or $7 or something, which I'm definitely willing to pay because I know getting into drone, and especially the FPV style drones, can be very expensive, especially once you crash, which you're gonna crash. So I was like, okay, I really like the technology, I think, is what I'm kind of obsessed with. I'm not even really into like any specific style. I haven't really figured out like the ultimate end goal for me or for myself. I just like the technology. It was the same kind of thing with 3D printer. I was like, I don't know exactly what I'd do with this. I just really like the technology and being on that cutting edge and figuring out what there is in this world. And I think the only way for me to like really get into this is to have one for myself. So that's pretty much what I'm doing with the drones now as well. The timing of it is maybe not so great because I'm about to get married in like a week and a half. So there might be a little delay of when I actually pull this stuff off, but I am like very obsessive about the drones right now and just thinking about them a lot. So this was the easiest step into the drone world and FPV drone world, is getting a simulator. So there are 3 major ones that I looked at. I can't even tell you the names off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But I found this one. It was on sale the day that I looked at it. So I was like, might as well go ahead and pick it up. It was like 50% off. I think it's usually around $15.
Where'd you buy this? Through like Stream or through a launcher?
Through Steam. Yeah. So I bought it through Steam. And like I said, it was on sale. I have a ton of games on Steam already, so it was like a no-brainer for me. Let's go ahead and try this out. So like I said, I've got maybe 5 hours into this, and part of that, or maybe even half of that, was just problem solving and figuring out how to get the game to look good. And now I did go through, it looks like there's 3 different
can you share your screen and just like things. Again, because I'm not a young gamer, can you launch Steam and just show me like what you're clicking on, so if I'm interested in it, I can have like a play-by-play of what I'm supposed to be clicking on? I'm assuming you go to Steam, download the launcher. I know that enough that, but then when the launcher comes up, it's very overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff on there. what should I be clicking on from that point? Like, how did you find this out? Did you do Google searches, or you went to Steam and immediately searched for this?
I found the name of the game from watching YouTube videos, but on Steam, once you come to the Steam store, you can go up to the search bar and just type in DRL, or maybe you have to type in Drone Racing. Should be, maybe it doesn't come up. Let's just type in drone. Here we go. Alright, so you go to the store and type in drone. It will show you all the drone games that come up, but this Drone Racing League is the one that I purchased. So it's actually $10, and I got it for sale. So it was probably like $5 or something when I bought it. And it tells you all the specs about it and all those things. So once you buy it on this platform, then it will show up in your library, and it will show all the games that you have available. And this is currently launched, so it says stop. But if I wasn't playing it currently, it would have a big green play button right there, and you hit play. Oh, I guessed correctly, 5 hours. So yeah, I've been playing for about 5 hours, but I would not say that I've been like training for those 5 hours, so it's a little deceiving. But that is how you get drone, or this version of DRL, or a drone sim rather.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure who's going to be watching this or what information is going to be pertinent to them, but I, as somebody that is always interested in what you're doing, like this step by step is extremely helpful to me, because you just launched the game and I was like, I don't even know how you got here on this screen with this guy holding these controllers in 3 different ways. Like,
fair enough.
Start me at the beginning. So if I ask you those questions, I appreciate you going back. So, but if you feel like, I'll answer that later, then you know how to handle that.
Cool. So I just want to pick up where I left off and actually get into some gameplay. So you can see I did most of these missions. I might have skipped 1 or 2. But Road to FPV tells you what drone you're flying and how many rating or stars you've got as a rating. But I'm really, really bad, so don't expect anything. Again, this is to capture my my journey from not knowing anything to actually being able to fly. So a couple of missions I got through were just like, I kind of did it, but I don't really think that's the way it wanted me to do it. It's super hand-holdy, which I don't do well with, so I'm looking forward to just like learning all this stuff.
Yeah, I guess another piece that we like to do is ask questions to people that are more knowledgeable. If for any reason you're watching this video and you're like, oh, you guys don't even know XYZ, put it down in the comments. We're trying to learn. I'm hoping that Nathaniel, like, going through this journey of learning is very helpful, because I always find it extremely helpful anytime we have a business. I normally am like asking Nathaniel to show his screen so I can come up with better marketing strategies. But this is what I think this time will be, is just like a learning time. So we're no experts, like Nathaniel said. This is the first time he's really gotten into this. If you know better, please let us know. We're always down for learning.
Oh yeah. So the other thing about this drone that I don't like is it doesn't really handle like, so this is like a very beginner drone. It kind of holds you at whatever level you put it at, so I'm not having to like throttle the throttle to put it technically. But it flies more.
If you know better than us, put it in the comments.
Yeah, it flies more like a DJI drone, which is like it's driven by a lot more software. The FPV drones are driven basically just by your actual inputs.
Say those two again. DJI. DJI. That's the company or the actual type?
That's the company. That makes a lot of consumer, and like they're basically like the Apple of drones. They make things nice and easy, and you don't have to like know all the technical bits. You can kind of just get a drone up and fly it into the water if you want.
And then the other one that you said was FPV?
Yeah, and FPV is a style of drone.
Okay.
So this view that I have on this drone right now is, to my knowledge, impossible. It's kind of like playing a racing car game where you're in that like third person over the top view, which you just can't do in real life.
But you're talking about the angle.
Like yeah, the actual FPV, you won't actually see the drone in front of you. You're just kind of strapped to the front of it with a camera.
This is a very video game angle, is what you're saying.
So I think once I get through this mission, it puts me into the more the
Yeah, because otherwise you're either on the ground looking at this, or have the camera on the actual drone and seeing that.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, oh.
The drone that is here, is this one that you can buy from the store?
I don't know if this exact one is, but very similar drones to this are available.
So is this something that you're looking at to, if you're thinking about purchasing, flying it in here, do you think that will translate to your actual purchase?
I don't think so. I've heard that this is more like a video game rather than like a true simulator. So they have a good amount of drones in here. Next pause screen that I get to, I might be able to show you. But I don't think they actually translate to like the real world drones. Again, to put this to a racing simulator, it's not like you can like race a Honda Civic and then, oh, here we go with the FPV.
Know what a Honda Civic feels like?
Right. So it's a little bit different. So now we're in that FPV style where I can no longer see the drones. If you look to the side of the screen, you can kind of see the
propellers.
Yeah, the props. So this is more where the camera would be.
So this is more true to life. This is what it would look like if you bought one of these.
At least the angle, yeah. Pitch backwards.
This to me feels like you have, like the VR experience, have a chance of getting sick while doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to VR, at least like the goggles that you put on. So I could see that. I think it's a little less disorientating because it's more just like a screen in front of you and you're not like looking around, but that's all part of it. If I put the goggles on for the first time and I throw up, then maybe this isn't the thing for me. But so yeah, to talk more about like what I'm doing here is I want to play this simulator. My goal is to get at least like 20 hours of flying in, and then maybe before that 20 hours is to get like an actual radio receiver, so the actual controller I'd use with a real life drone. You can hook it up to your computer and play with that for a bit, and then purchase a very small drone, like $100 or so, and just start flying that around what they call line of sight. So even before buying the goggles, because I haven't decided what goggles I want either, I can just fly that around my house to, like, you know, there's obviously going to be a jump from playing it on the computer to playing it in real life. Learning all those things. How do I charge the batteries? You know, how do I change out the props? All the actual like mechanics of the thing.
Yeah, I guess me as the like marketer and strategist, like I want to see like what kind of research you're doing for that $100 drone. Like what are you considering in buying it? Like you said, you like to take those pieces off. So just like what is the best $100 drone from your perspective before you purchase, and then like a review of whatever you get and why you got it. Is that $100 like a base price to get into it? Is there a cheaper way to get into these FPV drones?
FPV, and it's like 150. I would say like 200 is probably comfortable by the time you buy batteries and whatever else you gotta get.
Will that come with that headset?
Will what come with the headset?
The drone. Isn't that part of buying that first-person view drone, is the headset?
You can. Again, there's all kinds of different bundles out there for this kind of stuff. What I'm looking at doing, because I'm probably going to end up going fairly serious, instead of buying like a cheap drone that comes with a cheap headset, I'm just going to hold out on the headset and drop either like $400 or $800 on one. That way, it's hard to play a game and talk at the same time. I feel like I'm talking so slow. That way I don't have... I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have like 2 sets of goggles or whatever, but if I'm spending you know, $150 on a drone, I'm probably going to get a better drone if I buy one that doesn't have like the goggles and a radio receiver and all that stuff with it. I'll get like more bang for my buck, basically. So I'll end up spending more, but I'll get higher quality stuff, I guess is what I'm trying to say at the end of the day.
Is there a technical term for that headset?
That's a good question. I'm sure there is. But once a name of that is not coming to mind.
Yeah, I'd be very interested, like when you get the actual drone, to see if this pays off. Because you're just, a lot of this is just assumption on your part. You're assuming this is going to help you understand the basic like mechanics and or like muscle memory of doing the thing. But then you're like, oh my god, that was a wash, because I don't use the Xbox controller. I don't like. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we just don't know to even think about while doing this. But I think this is the best way to jump in, because like you said, it was what, $10 for you, $5. Like starting cheap is always like how I like to do things.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. You asked a question there. Now it's completely gone.
This is for muscle memory. Your assumption is this is on muscle memory. I'd like
to
see the difference between when this is live and do like a reflection on, oh, the simulator was helpful or not helpful.
Right. So I came up with this on my own, but as soon as I looked into it, I saw that this is what a lot of people are suggesting. So basically the path that I'm taking to learning drones, how it happened is I just started watching a lot of drone flying. A lot of that was following drift cars, which is another thing I'm very interested in. So those are like two passions. I don't have the risk tolerance to get into drifting. So flying a drone behind someone who's drifting seemed like a cool way to like still go to those events and maybe meet some of the people in that industry and get to like interact with them in some way. That's not drifting, because that's a huge commitment that I just don't have the time or finances for. So again, I like meeting people. I like going to events, and flying a drone and giving a unique perspective seems like a good way into that world. Plus, I'm extremely interested in, again, drone technology. So working my way back from that, I learned through talking to some people on Instagram that they make like little small drones. So the bigger ones they call 5-inch drones. And the smaller ones, they fly similar to those bigger drones, but it's way less risk and a lot less you have to invest in it.
You show pictures of these?
Possibly.
And is that what it's called, a 5-inch drone, or is that like just how they're classified?
Yeah, it's more classified. Again, in the game, I can actually show you that they're classified by that. 5-inch drone. So yeah, these are what the 5-inch drones look like. And so this is a good picture, actually. So this would be your bigger drone, and then this is like a smaller one. So this is actually a 7-inch drone. This is what they use for racing. These are like really fast, but also very dangerous. So that's why most people fly a 5-inch drone, because these ones are mostly made for like speed, and the 5-inch ones I think are a little bit more agile and not quite as dangerous. So
this is what you're getting as a 5-inch one that looks like this? Something similar to this?
Something similar to this would be like the end game. I'm learning a lot about like these smaller ones, which are very interesting to me because they're easier to fly indoors and stuff. Oh boy, I can't remember the one that I want to purchase. Yeah, I don't even know how to find that right now. Something similar to this would be the direction that I'm going. So I'm probably going to go for like a really tiny drone that's like $100 and then upgrade to something like this that's like $300, because this will allow me to fly outside but not quite do all like the crazy aerial tricks and stuff, but more like cinematic, and flying around people is another thing that I'm interested in. So having these like guards around your prop, so if you do crash into someone, you're not, you know, chopping them up with a propeller, but actually just bumping into them with this guard. And the smaller ones, again, are just lower risk. There's actually a company called Noob. FPV Drone.
You said something that triggered a question in me. What is your end goal for this? Is maybe a better way to like for me to ask you questions, because if I know what your end goal is, then like why is this your next step? Like you're buying $100 drone, then possibly buying a $300 drone, then you're possibly buying obviously a more expensive one. I know the journey is going to change as you start moving forward, but as of right now, at the very beginning, what is your, I guess best case scenario might be a better way of saying it instead of end goal.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an end goal in mind, to be 100% honest. Again, my interest is in the technology. I'm really, since doing 3D printing, I'm really finding that I love working with my hands. My background is in graphic design, and that's all, your face is just in a computer using a mouse and a keyboard all day long. So doing something with 3D printing where it was like, I'm still mostly my face is in a computer, but then I get to like print out the thing. And that was one very rewarding part of graphic design, was like actually seeing the stuff that I'm making on t-shirts or on, whatever cakes. People made cakes out of my designs and all kinds of random stuff. So that was super rewarding for me. And so kind of the same feeling with a 3D printer, where I'm making something, get to print it out and either give it or use it. Like having functional stuff that I've designed is super sweet. And I actually have some videos on that on the channel. And so 3D or drones is another like world, which is a lot more like in the physical space, but there's going to be stuff that's going to push me to learn more about like functional 3D printing, which I'm not sure how useful, like practically, a 3D printer and drones will be, just because of like a lot of the frames are made out of carbon fiber, and I can't get anything nearly that stiff through my 3D printer. But I'm sure there's like little things that I could create to like help my addiction with the drones, but I'm not actually like printing out a drone body and then just throwing electronics on it. I don't think that's where we're at in technology right now. So yeah, just
So problem solving, I think, I mean, from knowing you, problem solving is something like you like to do. Tech is something that you like to do. I think you are always interested in newer emerging technologies and like old technologies. This is interesting to me to hear, just say like you enjoy the designing process, the problem solving, but what you're really after is like the physical, being able to interact with other people. Like I think when you're working on the computer, you don't like that because even though you're extremely good at it, it doesn't fulfill you because there is no interaction with other people. I think this, from what I'm hearing, allows you to use your skills and still be interactive with people, so you can like see somebody face to face, talk to them, interact with them more than just like through the computer.
yeah, 100%. And another like thing that I'm interested in right now is like video and audio, like running those for events. And so this isn't like directly pursuing that, but I think if I ever got into that world, like knowing how to fly drones and knowing how to 3D print stuff just seemed like two really good skills.
Yeah, I guess this checks
That would
those
go along
boxes
with
too.
that.
Is like this is a live stream on YouTube. There's just a lot of
Ooh.
boxes that I guess this interest is checking for you. I guess that's what I was trying to get at. Is like what are you doing this for? Like I know you have passions and you always pursue them, so it's not like a full thought out process where it's like, oh, this is what I'm doing this to have this end result. But that's what I was just thinking, like, what is a better way to ask that question? Is just like, what is your best case scenario? Is just you're learning something that you can hopefully turn into a skill to be able to monetize. Unless
Yeah.
I'm misunderstanding.
No, I think I don't know who quoted it first, but I know it's in Iron Man, the like fire, ready, aim, or whatever. I think that's what I do with my passions. I'm like, oh, that seems interesting, and then just try and dive into it, like with the least amount of money and problems, and then just be like, do I like this? Yes or no? And if yes, then I like actually try to do my due diligence. And figure things out. The drones is like one of the more risky things that I'm doing. So I've jumped into it as far as like.
Why do you say it like that? One of the more risky things.
Just like it's a more physical space. Like I have to not just be on the computer. So like graphic design was one of those things I was interested in and dived head into. But the only thing at risk there was like time, right, and the power that I'm consuming by using my computer. With drones, like I actually have to buy things to get into it. The other thing that's coming to mind, like the 3D printer was like my first real step into like hobbies that are going to cost me a good bit of money. And so that was whatever 6-8 months ago at this point. And so once doing that and seeing how much I enjoyed it, how much I learned there's like a community out there for it, and it's just like a cool skill to bring to the table for random partnerships or whatever I'm doing. So that's like where drone racing is at now. Oops.
Is that something that you want to get into, is drone racing?
I say drone racing because it's easier to say than drone or FPV drone. But no, as of right now, I have zero interest in drone racing. I'm extremely competitive, and I played a lot of sports growing up and stuff. But I just don't see drone racing being the thing. It might completely change my tone once I actually get goggles and put it on and fly. And if I'm like, this is as cool as racing a car, or a similar sensation to that, then maybe I'll pursue it a little bit more. But right now, I'm not interested in racing, and I'm not really interested in like the aerial stunts that people are doing with drones either. So the only, like, there's kind of like the 3 lanes that I've identified. And again, this is after like 3 weeks of doing research. So if I'm completely, if I'm completely wrong, or if you guys know better than I do, please, say something. But yeah, those are like the 3 lanes that I've identified as like the racing, the aerial tricks, and then like the cinematography aspect of it. And cinematography is like the closest thing that I would be interested in with drones. But I'm also interested in learning more about like the sub niches and all that kind of stuff too. And we actually have people watching now, which is super dope. So Tylen is, I think, how you say your name. What's up? Thank you for joining our first live stream here. He's asking what happened to 3D printing. It's still happening. I'm still have ideas for videos and things, but I'm getting married very soon, and life has just gotten very, very busy. But I can't fight this addiction to drones any longer. So even with the midst of planning a move and planning a wedding, I just had to like scratch my creative itch, and I thought jumping into the world of live streaming would be an interesting way to see if this is something that me and my brother can do together and enjoy, and if you guys who have subscribed to the channel would enjoy as well. I think there is some crossover between 3D printing and drone flying, so hopefully if you're just here for the 3D printing, I don't bore you to death with the drone stuff, but this channel is more about like my passions and what I'm like obsessive about, and so those are the 2 things right now. But I keep looking at my 3D printer over there.
If people have, I know you like to teach and help people, but if people have questions about 3D printing, like, or how to do modeling or anything like that, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do something like this, like a live stream, just answer questions on whatever the thing is. I think
I do like to teach, but the caveat is I still don't know that much. So it's more like you guys ask a question and I'll try to find an answer for it. It's not like, oh, I've been doing this for... We had one guy comment on the channel, who I'm very grateful that he even took the time to watch my video. But
yeah, actually, if you want to show that feedback, I think that'll be helpful. I think this is what we're looking for. I think some people would take offense to something like this, but this is what we like to see, is just like, give us some feedback, even if you do know more than us in any regard. Most of the stuff that we were teaching on before is stuff that we had success in the business world. This is kind of a new foray into just like, now that we are in a good position, what are the things that we like to do and enjoy? And then I just suggested to Nathaniel to have some type of passion project, and let's see if we can capture that, because I think people would be interested in that. The learning, the aspects, and just like following us on the journey, instead of like, oh, we've been to the mountaintop, this is how you get up it, was just kind of getting old to me. I just wanted to be like, hey, let's start a new thing and like bring people along with the journey as we're doing it.
Right.
Could be wrong. I mean, this obviously is a hard left to me from what this original idea was on the channel, but I do think it is Nathaniel's passions, what this channel is truly built on.
Yeah. To finish what I was talking about with the guy who was commenting, there was a guy who commented on the channel. I will find that comment because I did appreciate it. But he was like, after 10 minutes of watching this video, I can tell you're brand new to this. I was like, yes, you are correct. Like, I don't know anything. These are not videos as tutorials. These are videos just showing my journey through this stuff. As you can tell, as I'm failing driving in a circle, flying in a circle. So again, like, I'm no expert in 3D printing. I'm no expert in drone flying. Hopefully you can see that very clearly. But I do like figuring out new technologies, and I really love answering questions. I think, honestly, where I'm at with a 3D printer is I don't have, like, a thing that I'm trying to do with it. So I feel like I understand the technology. I understand the 3D modeling aspect. I definitely need to put more time into 3D modeling, and I'm probably just going to hire out some projects that I have in my head because I've just not been creative enough to get through that. But I don't feel like there's a project that's really pushing me. I do have a cool friend. I'm here in Atlanta, and he works on board games and creates board games and sells them. And I was working with him on some stuff, but again, life just got busy. So I just had to kind of shelve that for the time being. So there's lots of cool stuff that I want to do with 3D printing still. Just I have to follow what I'm obsessive about. That's kind of where I'm at in life. Like, whatever I'm just like constantly thinking about, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to try and pursue. And 3D printing is on the back burner for right now. But even for my wedding that I keep talking about that's coming up, like, I've 3D printed some cool stuff for the wedding that I try not to be like too tacky, or like, I have a 3D printer so I must like 3D print things. Like, that's something I'm trying not to do. But I showed it to my fiance and she actually liked it. The few things that I have 3D printed, so I'm excited to use those things and have them be practical and not just okay, I'll let you wear this 3D printed tie, as I've seen like some crazy stuff.
Was that on the table?
No.
Okay. I was like, I'll bring my own. I guess this is another idea. Not that I don't lack ideas, but I think if you're doing something like this and just asking for if people have anything that they're working on, any projects, and have any problems with that stuff, and then you can help them.
Yeah, so if you're still in chat, I can't tell, and I just messed up my line. But if you have, like, what Steven just said, if you have projects or things that you're trying to figure out how to do with a 3D printer, that's, like, way more up my alley than just, like, I want to print a bunch of, low polygon Pokemon or whatever is, like, super popular. So I'm much more about the functionality. I think a lot of my 3D printer ideas are also on the background because I'm about to move. And I really like the practical prints, right? Like, stuff that I'm using daily. So the one video on my channel that I put some time into was
the Xbox controller.
Yeah, the Xbox controller holder, which is like a practical thing. Like, I have this Xbox controller that I'm using, and it's always just on my desk, and I don't want it to be on my desk. So my desk setup is unique, the way that I have things going on, and that's the perfect type of thing for me to try and solve with my 3D printing skills. So I already know, moving into the new place, there's like 10 things that I want to print just to make life easier. And because I have the ability to make like a custom fit solution, which I really like. But again, they're just not the priority right now because I'm not actually in that space until the 1st of next month. So
it's
can't tell if I'm
for you to watch. It's painful for me to watch you do this.
That's what I was saying. I can't tell if I'm getting better or worse at this.
Well, I think everything else, so there was no like tight constraints to like the direction you have to fly. Just flying at the balloons allowed you to come at it from any angle. But now that you kind of have to be a little bit more on the path
in the gates and stuff,
there's a lot of like left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah, I'm not very smooth. I'm gonna blame that on the Xbox controller because this is not what you're supposed to be flying with. But I will also chalk it up to the fact that I've only been flying for less than 10 hours.
Those other controllers, like whatever's on the screen right now with that huge N on it, are those something that you can also plug into the computer like the Xbox controller?
Yes, so that's what I'm planning on doing. I just need to find the one that I want to purchase. I'm willing to spend a good bit of money with it because If you buy a higher end controller, you can pair it with basically any drone or even like prop plane that you want to fly. So I'm not trying to have a ton of like cheap ones around the house. I just want to have one really good one that I can use for the simulator, I can use for the tiny little drones that I start flying with, and if I do build up to the 5 or even 7-inch drones, I'll be able to fly with the same thing for all those. I don't know if I want to do that on stream or whatnot, but I do want to look at those radio receivers and or transmitters. Sorry, not receivers. The radio transmitters, and figure out which one I want to purchase.
Do you have a budget for this, brother?
Like $2,000 in total. I'm not trying to blow that in the first week, so. Yeah,
I was talking to a guy the other day about uranium rights, so I was like, "Ooh, if anybody's looking to just blow some money, I got some uranium rights."
No. Friends get tired as you make your way through the course, but it eats up at the end. Don't worry.
So I guess that would be interesting to me to see that budget and then how you break it down, and then from like a 10,000-foot view of how you're processing that budget into each piece that you're going to need to buy. Like, I just assume you bought a drone and you bought the thing all together. Like, it came with the controller, it came with the drone, it came for whatever you need with that came with it. But
so you can do that, and they're called.
Yeah, but that's not your plan of doing it.
No, they're called ready to fly bundles, and they're actually attractive. But I want to. It might sound weird to say this, but I want to like fully respect whatever large drone that I'm going to be flying. And for me, that means building it from the ground up. So if I do get into 5-inch drones, I want to actually build it myself. I don't want to just buy a drone off the shelf. So there, you can kind of get in at any level. And like I said, the analogy of like DJI, which is a very large drone maker, if not the largest, they're kind of like Apple, where you can just buy the drone, get it up in the air. You can even fly off of your like cell phone and whatever else. But that's not the route that I want to go. And I'm thinking about the future a little bit. That's the reason why I don't want to get into it. I think those types of drones are going to become so easy to fly, if they're not already so easy to fly, that anyone can do it. And so I want to, not like be the elitist or whatever, but I want to do something that's a little bit more challenging, and that you have to have like knowledge of, actually charging the batteries and what does the voltage of the batteries mean, and if you're going to fly analog, and what does the signal strength, and how can you not mess with like airplanes flying by and all this kind of stuff that I've just like heard things about. I don't actually know any of that for myself right now, but those are all the kind of things that I want to learn, and be more immersed in FPV flying than just like picking up a drone for $1,200 and calling it a day.
Is this you flying?
Yeah. Less throttle is the key.
I was like, wow, this guy got really good.
Well, I was just trying to like fly through it because I saw the timer at the top, but I don't think that timer is actually like a pass or fail thing. I think it's just for your knowledge.
What's the total stars that you can get? Because you got a lot less stars that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because I restarted. I don't know. I'm not really paying attention to that. I want to get. This might be more difficult. I want to get to flying a different drone, I think, is what I want to do. But I don't know.
Oh, do you have to go through all of these as like a checklist to get to the better stuff?
Yeah, I don't know how this works. I think I'm still on the beginner things. Let's go to the main menu and just check my progress real quick. Train. I think I'm here. Yeah. So I'm on 9, and there's 20, so about halfway through. So if we finish this off, then we'll probably end the stream there. Whoa, it's actually been 45 minutes already.
Yeah, I enjoy this. Again, I don't know what true value this is bringing to just like a random person that's been following your channel, like the person in chat that's came here for 3D printing. This is kind of like a hard left, but
yeah,
I think that's fine, because you're going to find these things that are working together, and this really should just be your passion project. Like, whatever you're into, let's do that, because it's going to be enjoyable. And it's just the consistency. That's why I said I think just like as you develop I'm sure something that you're flying on the drone is going to break, and you're like, oh, let's fix this with my skills, and then involve other people. And then I think that's what you're trying to build, is like a tribe of people that are into the things that you're into,
Right.
and then solve problems and work on projects, which I think is what we've done a lot in business. And I've always enjoyed it. That's why I said I like working with you, because it's like I just have the ideas, and then I go, hey, Nathaniel, can we do this? And you're like, let's try it.
Right. Just problem solving, jumping into it, figuring it out. So this was, these are all the drones that are available. So this one is actually, you can see if I move my mouse, it goes away. But in the lower right, there's a logo, and I believe that's Noobie's logo, which is a drone company. I could be completely wrong now looking at it. I don't know what I'm talking about. But these are the different classes. So like the 3-inch, that's 3-inch propellers. They're just like smaller drones that you can fly for. I'm not even gonna say anything technical because I don't know enough. But there's the 4-inch drones, and then there's the 5-inch drones.
It sounds good to me, baby. Just keep keep going.
I don't want to not put my foot in my mouth. So there's a lot of 5-inch drones. This is like the most popular category, and all these do different things as far as like their flight characteristics or
where those stats
how much
are,
payload.
The name under it, is that the actual company name?
I don't think so. I could be wrong. I haven't seen any of these names though. In my very little bit of research.
And all the bodies on this look very simple.
What do you mean by that? Like
Like
they
the
don't look like
housing
this?
pieces?
Well, weight reduction is a big thing, and so most of these are just like carbon fiber. Like they're just trying to keep it as light as humanly possible.
Okay.
Except for this one. This is the 7-inch racing league drone, and so they're built to have like LEDs on them. So when there's multiple flying on a course, you can identify like who is who, and it has this
so
like
they standardize them when they go to that extreme, when they have like actual,
So
like
it's kind of like Formula
NASCAR,
One,
whatever. Okay.
Right? I'm not even sure they're allowed to do anything to their drones. I think they're strictly just piloting. I don't think there's any like mechanical advantage that they're trying to get. I'm sure there's open classes and everything else, but for the company that made this simulator, the DRL drone, this is what it looks like, and this is what this year's version looks like. I don't know how old this is, but I watched a quick YouTube video on these drones and how they're built to be like pretty simple because they have to assemble them and do all this different stuff with them. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So inside of here you can do a bunch of different stuff. I haven't played with this at all, but there's all kinds of different motors you can put on here, different propellers, and all that good stuff. Different batteries you can put on. All of those things that I know nothing about. Change the LED lights, all that cool stuff. But I'm still trying to learn how to fly, so let's jump back into this. Still got a few viewers.
I guess the director and me, when you go to end this or close this out, just end on a single shot and just have like
yeah, like how I opened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to finish. We'll see how long the next 10 of these take. If it's more than like 10 minutes, then I probably won't finish them. Yeah, I'm struggling here. I want to jump into free play for just a second to show you and the people what that's all about.
I guess another thing that I would enjoy is like before we start these, just like what is your goal for the day, and then like your takeaway at the end of it. So like what you said is like throttle control, like
little, like for the game,
yeah, bits of just like.
I was like, today's goal was to get the technical aspects of the stream working and see if we could pull this off.
Yeah, nailed it. And I think just like that, like wrap up. I always enjoyed when we did live presentations to just be able to throw it to you. And no matter what direction we went in the live presentations, you were able to wrap up the whole thing. I think that is a skill. I think you should bring that same skill set here. We're just like, this is what I'm planning on doing today. And then through whatever you learned as we jumped out and looked at over the shoulder through Google and just for researching things. Here's my biggest takeaway from today. This is what I learned. I learned throttle control. I learned 5 inches, not the technical turn. Whatever you learned, if you could just wrap it up like that, I think I would enjoy that. And then
Can
having
do.
these in a series, being able to like, oh, this is like
boy.
his progression through this. I saw him struggle going through each one of those gates when he started, and then hopefully in a week or two you'd be like, oh, now it's a lot smoother. What happened? I thought you were getting so much better. I saw that last one that you were flying around.
Again, I'm blaming this on the Xbox controller because the sticks recenter, and so I'm like having to constantly push pressure on these. So I'm not the stablest. And to be honest, I don't use the Xbox controller all that much, so using joysticks is not second nature.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if I would be better at this.
Probably. Oof, half a star. Moving on. Yeah. I don't know. I was going to say you can tell us a little bit about yourself while I struggle through these, because you haven't been on this channel before. So if people are interested.
Yeah, I guess just business-minded. Found success in a lot of different things. What I really enjoy doing right now is consulting and more on the content strategies along with marketing strategies. I don't want to get super technical, but like building sales pages, building funnels, building customer paths, building email sequences, just allowing people to come into whatever the business is that most people have. Most of the people that I'm working with right now have very successful businesses, but have little to no YouTube representation. And I think this is what I'm trying to do, is just like connect a few of the dots and then give people paths into whatever their products are that they're offering. Most of the people are solving problems like how to sell on Shopify, then they give you a full course, and then if you want to sell digital products or whatever the case may be, they give you a lot of suggestions of where you should start. It's hard to like take that product and then just like break it up into pieces and then throw it up on YouTube. It's like, what's the strategy of what are questions that people might ask to then want this solution? So like, what is Shopify? What is Shopify like? What is Shopify like versus this? Just a lot of learning. I think exactly what you're doing here, just in a different element.
World, yeah.
You're just learning a new process. It's stuff that I've done for a long time, and my passion is to help people, and consulting is a new business model, even though I feel like we've kind of done it in every other business model that we've had. We just haven't had it as like a charging piece. It's more just been like a
We like people, and so we tell them information.
Yeah. And it's always just been a passion of ours, because I think a lot of other people that we did live presentations with were like doing it for their business, and that was like most of their income, where it was like, that's not even an income consideration for us. It was just like, we want to go and help more people solve problems. This is why we're going out and teaching. I think it's led to a lot of cool opportunities, so I don't regret any of it. But I think just now, like, as we get older, what are things that we can do that are leaning on our skills, not just because we are capable of doing a lot of stuff, but like, what is the actual skills that we have? Like this, I think your skill set is you're passionate about certain things, then you can dive into it and have different ways of looking at it. I think that's a unique thing. I'd like other people to see what you're doing and just see if other people find it valuable. I think it's very interesting. Obviously, you have one other watch around here, so probably it's not as interesting as I think it is, but I think in time, if you find the right angle into any of this stuff, people will find it very interesting. I think if you could solve problems in your unique way, this is what people like on YouTube. Like that guy jumping upstairs on a bicycle. Like, how many people are actually into that? But that video got 10 million views. I think it's because his ability to create a video that's interesting to watch is really what's bringing people to that channel. I think you have the same ability. When you made that Xbox controller thing, I was like, that was just a question to you. What are you doing? Make a video on it. And then you made it, and I was like, oh, this is super enjoyable to watch. Let's do more of this. That's how this whole thing started, was just me asking you a question and just like make a video out of it, because I'm interested in what you're doing. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is going to be the best video. It was just, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And let's see if you can put it in a, I guess, story. I don't even know if that's the right word of it. But this, just like, you flying this drone around is not that exciting to watch. You talk about like your thought process as you're doing this stuff is what I really enjoy. I think as we move forward, more people will be able to see that and be able to ask questions and interact with you. I think that's where this will really shine. I think that's why this live stream was very interesting to me, to like, let's see who's asking what questions, and let me just ask questions. and be able to figure out what you're doing. What is your angle? Why are you doing this? Why are you passionate about this? What do you like about this? Because seeing this, I'd be like, I don't get it. But hearing you talk about it, then it's like, okay, I get it. And yes, it is interesting for me.
Yeah. So that super long introduction to Steven.
Yeah, I'm very shy if you haven't noticed.
Right. But that is where the name Wingman came from. The hat that Steven has on, the several hats that I have on my wall. That was the name of, and still is the name of our business and collective. We just like coming alongside people and helping them where they're at. How's that for a throwback? But that's what we like to do is we're interested in certain things. If we find someone who's passionate about it and we think there's a way for us to help them, that's what we want to try and do. So I've taken a step away from some of the day-to-day stuff that Steven's doing, and just strictly going after stuff that I'm interested in right now. Because I think that's where I'm most useful to the business when it comes to the day-to-day stuff. I can definitely do it, but I think the age that I'm at and the drive that I have just to learn like new technologies and stuff is a lot more helpful for where I'm at in life. I'm basically not being reliable.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's necessarily helpful for the business, but I do think it's helpful for just like us growing as people.
Right.
Like, this is not a lucrative endeavor.
No.
It might turn into that, but I think
that's not why we're getting into it, or why I'm getting
right
into
now
it.
Is we have the ability to take some time and just dive into what we're passionate about. Because something I know about us is like, if we're passionate about it, we give it 110%, and we'll find ways to be able to make it lucrative and then figure out like ways to help more people with it. But I don't think you know enough about this to even know, like, if somebody were to ask you some questions, you can answer them, but you don't have any.
If you ask a question, if you ask me a question, I'm probably going to go research it for myself, because I literally know 2 weeks of information. So.
But even this is, I think, is a good way to get into it. Like, you thought about it. I'm interested in flying drones. I don't necessarily know enough about it to know exactly what I want to buy. I'd like to learn to fly. I think that's the first step. What's the cheapest way to check this first box?
Right, do the simulator.
Maybe that's, if I would ask you to do that too, if you could write down like the steps that you think you need.
Yeah, so I think I started saying this, like, I came up with this way of getting into it just from like looking at the industry and seeing like, okay, these big drones are this, and then talking to someone on Instagram, they're like, oh, actually they make smaller drones, and then I found out about simulators just because I play video games. It was something I looked into, and I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Like, get a simulator, play on the Xbox controller. If I like this, which I'm loving this, I don't know if anyone will enjoy watching this. If I enjoy doing it with the Xbox controller, then spend the $100 to $200 to actually get a radio transmitter, plug that into my computer, fly with it that way. If I'm still enjoying it, and
interesting. You would get that before buying the drone, even?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so do that, play with it on the simulator. That's my next step. I hope to do that within the next 2 weeks here. And then, get a little drone, fly it line of sight, so not actually using the FPV camera that's going to be on whatever drone I buy. Just to, again, get a sense of what it's like to take those skills and put them into the real world. And then, if I'm still enjoying it, buy the FPV goggles, and then I'll have a really nice controller, radio transmitter, and a really nice pair of goggles, so that way I can go out and then purchase bigger and better drones, or drones more specific for whatever I at that time find interesting. So if it's indoor, or if it's cinematic, or whatever, maybe I'll get into the racing.
If you do get into racing, if you do get into tricks, then you just skew your buying purchases in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know the controller was the first thing. I just assumed that the drone is the first thing you need to buy to get into drones.
Yeah, you would think that. So that's what I kept saying. Like, I've come up with this on my own, but then as soon as I looked into it, it's like, that's what people suggest. So I'm like, I can't make a cool video, be like, this is how I got into droning and did it for barely any money until I like knew that I liked it. But there's a lot of people who suggest doing exactly.
Are there videos out there with that information in there?
Yeah, and everyone has like their own opinion of like, you know, the best simulator and the best controller and all of that stuff. So that it's interesting to watch a few of them. So that's what I've been doing.
I mean, I would suggest you make those videos, and I would even suggest you make that like, this is how I got into
right. Yeah.
Obviously not right now because
I don't know anything.
You're just stepping a toe into it. You're not in it. But I think when you are and you go, oh, looking back, this is what I think, and this is why I thought that.
Right.
This is
now my unique
going through it. This is what I would suggest.
My unique perspective on it, because I've seen a couple of people, maybe not a couple. I saw one guy who had like 100 hours or something in the flying sim, and was able to pick up a drone and like fly it pretty much no problem. So that was encouraging. And it was just like, oh, that's like, you know, he's not the best pilot in the world, but it's interesting to see like this guy has just been playing the simulator, has his own perspective and his own likes and dislikes about what he's trying to do with the drones and flying in first person and all that. So
did he talk about his end game or what best case scenario for any of that stuff was?
I only watched the one video. I didn't really dig into his channel, so I'm not sure. But that would be interesting. I feel like
that might be something that you lock into your intro. Just like I always used to say,
yeah,
we're helping you start and scale a POD business or whatever it is that we were talking about. Just have something like that, just a quick 2-3 second of like what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I started to say that I think most people get into the hobby knowing what their end game is, but I would actually take that back, and that would be something interesting to do research on. Like, if you're getting into FPV drones or drones in general, like, is there a reason, or do you just think it's cool? Because if I was strictly doing this to make money, I would definitely be going and getting just a regular DJI drone, and trying to partner with roofing companies around me, because I've seen that that's a need. And there was like a case study that showed, like, I forget what the company was, but some massive company that has warehouses all over the United States and possibly even the world has like a $10 million budget just for fixing their facilities, and maybe even specifically the roofs of those facilities. And they said that like when they started introducing drones into that budget, basically they went from like $10 million to $2 million. I know those numbers are probably off, but some like drastic spend change happened because of this new technology. Like, no longer did they either have to like get a helicopter or have people like physically go up on those roofs and inspect them, but they could just have a drone map out and take pictures of the entire thing. And even the picture quality that you can get, and like 3D mapping with the drones and all this kind of cool stuff that's happening. Like, that's a very interesting world. And again, if I was trying to make money, that's definitely the way that I would start learning about drones. But I'm more interested in the technology. And then if I put all this time into it and I find out like I don't actually like FPV drones, I don't actually like the technology as I thought I still might do the roofing thing.
Yeah, I guess there must be a lot of problems that drones solve.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not even something I would even like consider or even like know where to go to even ask.
Right. So the first thing was real estate, because when I was in Florida and just taking pictures of nice houses, I was like, I bet you the people who own these houses would buy them, because there was just like nice houses on the water. And I was like, oh, like, and then I learned how to do those like stitched together images to make like a 3D bubble. So kind of like Google Maps, like when you go to Google Maps
now in the real estate, especially
right.
if you go on to Zillow or whatever, they have all that stuff. It's all stuff that you were doing a while ago, but I didn't know where to even put all that.
Yeah, a friend of mine's mom was not happy because I went to their house. I was dog sitting for them, and this was when I was starting to learn about the technology, and I mapped their living room and put it up on Google and didn't realize that it was searchable. And she was like, why could I see my living room?
My house.
Yeah. That was quite a while ago. And I've since seen like really cool cameras that you basically just set up and walk away from, and like they'll do the whole thing and stitch it together and give you the perfect image. But I was just doing it with like a basic
phone.
No, I was doing it with a nice camera. That was the other thing. I was borrowing the camera from the
You borrowed
daughter.
her camera to take pictures
Yeah,
of her house.
exactly. Turn around. Oh,
I think even like your pitfalls, your problems, the things that you run into that are like, oh, don't do this. These are the pieces of content that I think are very watchable on YouTube.
This is a well, I did that horribly. This is a thing in drone racing. Yeah, you're supposed to fly around it. I've never seen that before. I thought it was telling me to turn around like a racing game, where it's like you're going the wrong way. Yeah. So
any pitfalls that you have, like any understanding that you have, I think just capturing that and being able to deliver it to more people to help them.
Right.
Is this how a real race is laid out?
No.
I was gonna say this would be maddening and hard to even watch. Oh, okay.
The races are hard to watch for me. I don't think they're great for your everyday fan. So like that's the other. I think that might be some of the world that I get into is like how do we introduce drones to the public, or not the public. I think the public knows about drones, but like you know,
get more people interested.
Yeah, like so we have an uncle who's a pilot, and I would love to show him like FPV footage of his house. He's also into construction and built his own house. So like, how cool would it be to give Speedo a pair of glasses and just like fly him around his own property? Like, I think that'd be a really cool experience and something that would like stick with him and show him the technology and stuff. So how could we do that like at scale? I think like that's just the start of an idea that I've been having. Again, just trying to like figure out what is my lane in flying drones. Ooh, no stars. I went super slow for that. It's getting worse.
As soon as I said you turn around, I think that sealed the deal on your stars.
We do have someone else joining the stream though, so if you have any questions or just want to say what's up, we're just hanging out. My new obsession is FPV drones. So I know this channel is only talked about 3D printing so far, but it's mostly just whatever obsession that I have currently. I started with 3D printing in the midst of the pandemic because I wanted to do something inside my house. But now I'm wanting to go outside, so I found a new toy.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of places around you that visit.
So actually, one of the biggest names in drone flying that I've found, Mr. Steele, is right here in Atlanta, and he's flown places that I've seen. And the pandemic actually lent its hand nicely to that because you get thrown out of places less. So I definitely think there's a lot of cool places in the Atlanta area.
Yeah, so like you were thinking how you can introduce more people. I think that is another way, is like that geo caching or whatever, like people are going and hiking, all that stuff. I think if you add an extra element to it and like tap into a certain audience that's into something like the geocaching, you could give them like a real view of the area. So if they go out there and hike, they'd feel more comfortable because they kind of know their surroundings. Stuff like that is, I think, where a huge value add comes with this.
I think the beeping might be annoying on here. We'll watch this back.
I can't hear any of that.
Oh. You can't, but stream can. Are you listening to the stream still?
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to solve the problem of like what am I gonna do with the drone once I have it yet.
Yeah, I wasn't saying like that. I was just like, what is your best case scenario for whatever you're doing this for? You're obviously doing this because you like it right now, but is there, just like learning, what is it that you're trying to learn? What is it you're trying to do? Is there something that you're thinking about to be able to go, oh, once I hit this level, this is kind of the direction I want to go in? Like you said, flying in races is not something that's really on your radar, but if it hits a certain thing where you're like, oh, I do really like this, I'm getting good at it, this might be something that I'll look into. And just having an end goal of let's see, I think is fine.
Yeah, I want to keep my my options open. Oh my gosh. All right, this will be the last one because I think I'm starting to lose it. But I definitely want to keep my options open, knowing that I've barely scratched the surface for drone flying.
The blades are plastic or carbon fiber?
To my knowledge, they're plastic. I know for sure they're plastic. Carbon fiber is an interesting question. I don't know if they use carbon fiber blades.
So is this a reality to be able to like print your own blades if you bust it up?
I don't think the blades, because of the actual properties that they have and how rigid they have to be. Oh, this is the same thing I did last time. I don't think you can print blades, at least on the printer that I have. So yeah, it's a short answer, no. I don't know of anyone who's printing blades, because I think printing a body is still a thing that people are trying to figure out like the best materials for and everything. I've seen a few of them, definitely. And there could be more to it than I know, but that's still at least a month away of me trying to build a drone. But I think even farther than that, because just because of what I have going on in life right now.
But even like the little shield thing that's around the drone, that
Right.
can't be like structurally.
No, like that I could definitely 3D print. And there's different like shrouds for GoPros that I could do. Even like I think they call them launch pads, but like if you're trying to fly on the snow or in terrain that's like really bad, if you want to put it on the ground, you put it on like a little lifted thing. I mean, it could just be a piece of cardboard, but you could also 3D print something that looks kind of cool or has some different functionalities to it. So I think I actually have to turn around. I don't actually have to go all the way around them like I thought. Oh, we're over an hour. So yeah, I think if we can find an audience for this, and find some topics or questions or whatever, I think that this would be a good way to spend an hour. Because, oh boy. All right, where am I at?
I think it's gonna be a while before people are like even know that this is happening. I think you got to tell people what you're doing for them to be a part of it.
That's
Because we have a lot of
true.
friends and stuff that I'm sure we could have asked to jump in here, but we just wanted to do it. And like you said, this was like more of a technical run through
Right.
than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think if you make
Oh, I said the last one.
videos that are answering simple questions and then like pointing them to this as like your journey for them to join you, I think this will get more.
Yeah. And this is kind of the same way I want to use my Instagram account now, is more like this is what I'm currently doing, not here's a polished product.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the attractive character. You're the adventurer. I wanted you to be the expert, but you're not.
No.
And I identified that when I was like, oh, this is not going to work.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the last post I made on Instagram, and it was so long ago because I don't feel like I've put anything out into the world that's like, here's a polished thing. It's just been, here are new things that I'm addicted to.
Yeah, because even the stuff that you're purchasing, like your feedback on all the unboxing videos, why did you purchase that? What did you think about before you purchased it? Like all that stuff I think is very informative to people that are trying to get into it.
I said last
like,
one.
Why'd you buy this simulator over the other simulators just because it was on sale for $5?
Partially that, but this one was on Steam, and I heard that it has, what is the camera doing? Okay, I think I broke it. This one had the best reviews for a game on Steam. There's another one that I've heard is more lifelike, but it wasn't on Steam, and so I didn't go down that road. Not that I'm a huge Steam fanboy or anything. It's just like, this is literally the easiest out of convenience. Yeah.
I guess you'll know truly when you get that other remote, like how actual lifelike it is. But I think just for like having the controller in hand, regardless if it is like perfect or not, it's going to give you more familiarity with the controller.
Yeah, it's the easiest jumping off point, and that's what I look for a lot in these new crazy hobbies that I like to get into. What's the easiest way that I can get into this without putting myself in a financial hole or spending, an ungodly amount of time just watching videos and doing research on it without like putting my toe in. So I'm having a ball. I don't know. I don't show happy emotions. Great, but I am thoroughly enjoying this, and it's costing me nothing. I get to sit here and talk to my brother while I'm doing it. It's not like I'm just like locked up in my room. So this is perfect for me. Get to use my computer that I built in the pandemic. That was another thing that I didn't ever talk about, but did a bunch of research and purchased parts apparently at the perfect time, because I have a cousin who's trying to build a computer right now and can't find a graphics card to save his life. So, and even built my brother one because some things happened. So yeah, there are definitely things that I like to like dabble in. The computer building, I don't think that has legs. Like, I did it for myself, and I haven't even like fully done everything that I should have for this computer. Like, I know there's performance that's still on the table. I'm not intrigued by computers, hardware or software, enough to like learn all of that. I got it working, and I haven't had any problems with it, and that's where I'm leaving it for now. When I have problems, I'll learn more about it and fix them. But yeah, that's as far as I got. So there's no videos on computers because I'm not interested in that, and I think that it's covered by
a lot more well-educated people.
Exactly. And I don't think computer building is something that you just want like a random novice showing you how to do, because it's a lot more expensive, and most people are not building computers for the joy of looking at their computer. There's definitely some of those people out there, but I think the majority of people building a computer want it to work properly, and not just like, oh, this is what I did it once and it worked.
Yeah, if this was something that you were going to be building into something, I would be like, hey, we should have captured that.
Yeah,
but it's just a one-off, so it's not anything that's like
right. I
pertinent.
took
Now,
some time lapses and stuff, but those will never see the light because there's nothing else I'm doing with them.
If you were thinking about building computers and had a certain angle on it, and I'd say put it out there and see what people think, get some feedback on it, but there's no follow-up to any of that, like you said.
Right.
There's not a desire or a passion to do anything.
Stop me after this one. No, I'm just going to stop now. That was a good run. I want to jump into the free fly mode for just a second. Oh, we've lost all our viewers, so good. The house. So yeah, I think this went well. Again, we saw the technology. Hopefully this saves, and we can watch it back and see how clean the stream is and what the sound outputs are and all that good stuff. We had someone comment, which is way more than I was hoping for, so I'm real happy with the way this went. Oh,
yeah, and I think if you can start with a like quick, this is what I hope to do today, and then end with a recap, like just 2 solo shots, singles. I think this will be usable content as we move forward.
All right, well, I'm not going to embarrass myself too much because I don't know how to fly slow, but this is like the free flying where you're 100% in control, and the drones fly a little bit different than the one I'm training with.
And that computer like feedback, is that just like random...
No, it's when you fly analog, if you go out of range, your range will break up. But in this game, it's how they have like they're out of bounds or whatever. So that's what it looks like, an old VHS tape. When you're actually flying it and you go out of range,
get the static.
Yeah, you'll get that static. But that's what flying analog is like. The reason people fly analog and not digital all the time is because it has lower latency, meaning that it's when you input something feedback to the controller, yeah, it's going to actually happen in real life. you'll see it happen in real life faster. It won't happen in real life faster. So that's the difference between analog and then digital. Digital is like a better image, but when you go out of range, it just stops. It doesn't like fade out or anything, so you can get in a lot more trouble if you're trying to fly long distances. There's a lot more complications to it than just that very simple overview. And I'm looking at
understanding of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at going digital because it seems like analog is great for lower latency, but besides that, it seems like digital has a lot of upper hand, again, in my very new opinion. But I looked at some of the I think that's what I had up here. I looked at some of the digital goggles, and they're expensive. So I think a digital goggles with the 2 cameras, $800, and they're not even in stock right now. So I was like, maybe that's not what I need to jump into, because that's like basically half the budget. But everyone says the goggles that you have, like, you're going to use for your whole time in FPV, whatever. Like, even if I wanted to put these cameras in RC cars and drive around or whatever. So it might be worth the investment, but I'm definitely going to put a lot more time into
research.
Well, the research, but also like doing it. So playing more of the simulator, buying the little drones, flying those around line of sight before I even get goggles to be like, okay, yeah, like this is definitely something I'm gonna go find cool spots to fly around in, or find a community of people to fly with before I just like, oh, tonight I'm gonna spend $800 on a pair of goggles. So that's where I'm at. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. You got anything else to say?
No, just excited for this new venture, and I think this idea of you taking people along the journey is the missing piece to a lot of stuff that we were trying to do from before.
I don't know how to tell. I might still have some people in here. But thank you guys very much for sticking around. For those of you guys who commented on my very first stream, that is a huge push for me to continue doing this. I love talking with people and community, and that's a lot of the reason that I try to get into these crazy hobbies, because I think they have some really cool communities built along with them. So if you guys comment on stuff and thumbs it up, like, I don't care about the analytics or what that says to YouTube at all. I know my brother does, but I don't care about that at all. I care about actually knowing that someone liked my video and that you actually clicked the thumbs up button, because that's encouraging for me to actually come back. And that's the reason I'm back on this channel, is because my brother liked to show me all of the views that we're having and all the comments and stuff, which to him shows that the research that he did is good. But for me, it's just like, oh, people are interested in this. There's actual humans that want to talk to me about this stuff and leave and take their time to leave comments. So that's why I'm back. That's why I'm hoping to make this a regular thing. If you didn't hear through this hour-long stream, I'm getting married at the end of this month, so in like 10 days, which is pretty crazy. So I might not be the most reliable person. There might not be a stream next week or the week after that. I can almost guarantee at least the week after that will be my honeymoon. I don't think my new wife wants me live streaming for 2 hours, but this is a fun new way for me to show off what I'm interested in, to involve my brother, and yeah, to spend an evening. So I think I will be doing this more. And if you guys enjoyed this, again, leaving those comments or thumbs up is a huge push for me to actually continue doing this. As far as the 3D printing stuff goes, I know that's what this channel has been focused on. I will definitely be talking about that, and I'm just going to kind of follow, firstly, what I'm personally interested in, but definitely, again, with the comments or interaction that I'm having with you guys, if I'm getting a lot of people that are interested in something or have a project that you want me to take a crack at, that's really where my interests lie, is solving problems with these tools that I'm investing in. So if you have stuff that you're interested in with 3D printing, and either you don't have one for yourself so you can't actually test it out, or you're having a problem that you would just like another human to look at. I'm not saying I'm an expert or I know anything more than you probably, but I think I have knack for solving problems, at least in the last 6 or 7 years that me and my brother have businesses together. That's been something that he's been able to lean on me, is just like, here's technology, figure it out. And that's the kind of stuff that I like to do. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this. I greatly appreciate anyone who watched this all the way through. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys soon. I'll try to do notifications and stuff when we're going live next time, and have things set up a little bit better. And if there's any like technical aspects of anyone who's actually streamed or can tell me anything about OBS or streaming on YouTube, feel free to leave those comments as well, because I know there's a lot I can learn. I basically just set it up with all the default stuff and said go to see if it works. It seems like it is. So yeah, that's where we're at. All right, guys, thanks so much. Steve, you want to jump back in here and say anything real quick, or are you good? Oh, camera off.
I'm good.
All right. Well, guys, until next